Welcome to Breaking Bulletin, your trusted source for in-depth historical explorations and current affairs. Today, we embark on a journey into one of the most pivotal moments in Philippine history, the arrival of the Spanish conquistadors. We will detail Miguel López de Legazpi's expedition in 1571, the fierce Battle of Manila that led to the fall of the Kingdom of Maynila and the establishment of Spanish colonial rule. As you listen, we invite you to like this video, share it with others interested in history, and subscribe to Breaking Bulletin for more captivating stories from the past. The arrival of Miguel López de Legazpi in 1571 marked a turning point in Philippine history. Legazpi, a seasoned conquistador from New Spain, which is modern-day Mexico, was tasked with establishing Spanish control over the Philippine archipelago. His mission was not just about territorial conquest, but also about spreading Christianity and securing a foothold for Spain in Southeast Asia. Legazpi's journey to the Philippines began in 1565 when he arrived in Cebu, establishing the first permanent Spanish settlement in the islands. Over the next 6 years, he consolidated Spanish power in Visayas and parts of Luzon through diplomacy and military campaigns. By 1570, Legazpi had set his sights on Maynila, which is modern-day Manila, a thriving Muslim principality strategically located at the mouth of the Pasig River. At that time, Maynila was ruled by two paramount leaders, Rajah Matanda, the elder statesman, and his nephew Rajah Sulayman, the younger and more militant ruler. Together, they governed a fortified settlement that had become an economic and political hub due to its strategic location along Manila Bay. The kingdom's wealth and influence made it an attractive target for Spanish colonization. The first encounter between the Spaniards and Maynila occurred on May 24, 1570. Martin de Goiti, one of Legazpi's trusted lieutenants, led an expedition to assess Maynila's defenses and negotiate with its rulers. Initially, Rajah Matanda and Rajah Sulayman engaged in diplomatic talks with Goiti. However, tensions quickly escalated when mistrust grew between both sides. According to Spanish accounts, negotiations broke down when Sulayman perceived Goiti's actions as aggressive. In response, Sulayman ordered an attack on the Spanish forces stationed near Maynila. The ensuing battle was brief but intense. Despite being outnumbered by tens of thousands of native warriors, Goiti's forces, comprising Spanish soldiers and native allies from Panay, proved superior due to their advanced weaponry and military tactics. The fortified settlement of Maynila was set ablaze during the conflict. While some accounts claim that Goiti ordered his men to burn the city, others suggest that Sulayman's forces employed a scorched earth strategy to deny their enemies any advantage. Regardless of who started the fire, it marked the end of this initial confrontation. Goiti proclaimed victory and symbolically claimed Maynila for Spain before retreating to report back to Legazpi. In 1571, Miguel López de Legazpi personally led a larger force back to Maynila to solidify Spanish control over the area. This time, he brought 280 Spaniards and Mexicans along with 600 native allies from Panay. The combined force was well prepared for any resistance they might encounter. By this time, Maynila had been partially rebuilt under Rajah Sulayman's leadership. However, Sulayman faced significant challenges in rallying support against the Spaniards. Many local rulers, including Rajah Matanda and Lakan Dula, the ruler of Tondo, opted for diplomacy rather than open conflict. Without widespread support from neighboring polities, Sulayman was left with limited resources to defend his kingdom. On May 19, 1571, Legazpi's forces launched their final assault on Maynila. Despite fierce resistance from Sulayman's warriors, who were primarily Muslim militia, the Spaniards overwhelmed them with superior firepower and disciplined tactics. The battle concluded with another devastating fire that destroyed much of Maynila's fortifications. After securing victory, Legazpi declared Maynila as a territory of New Spain on June 24, 1571. He established it as a Spanish city and named it Manila, the new capital of the Spanish East Indies. The fall of Maynila marked the beginning of over 3 centuries of Spanish colonial rule in the Philippines. Legazpi wasted no time consolidating his authority over Manila and its surrounding areas. He established a municipal government modeled after Spanish cities in Europe and New Spain. This included appointing local officials loyal to Spain and implementing laws that aligned with colonial policies. Manila quickly became the center of political, religious, and economic activity in the Philippines under Spanish rule. Its strategic location along Manila Bay made it an ideal hub for trade between Asia, Europe, and the Americas. The city became part of Spain's vast colonial empire stretching across continents. One significant event during this period was the Battle of Bangkusi Channel, a final attempt by local leaders to resist Spanish rule. Rajah Sulayman, not to be confused with Rajah Sulayman, a Kapampangan leader from Macabebe, organized a coalition against Legazpi but failed to gain widespread support from other rulers such as Lacan Dula or Matanda. In June 1571, Rajah Sulayman led his forces into battle at Bangkusi Channel but was defeated by Spanish forces equipped with superior weaponry. With this victory at Bangkusi Channel, Spanish control over Manila was solidified. Legazpi established Manila as not only a political capital, but also a religious center for missionary activities aimed at converting indigenous Filipinos to Christianity. The establishment of Spanish colonial rule brought profound changes to Filipino society. Indigenous polities like Maynila lost their autonomy as they were integrated into Spain's centralized colonial administration. The traditional barter-based economy gave way to a cash-based system driven by global trade networks. Indigenous traditions were suppressed or blended with Christian practices introduced by missionaries. A new social hierarchy emerged based on race and religion, with Spaniards occupying positions of power while indigenous Filipinos became subjects under colonial rule. Despite these changes, and often because of them, resistance continued throughout various parts of Luzon and beyond during Spain's early years in power. The indigenous people of the Philippines did not passively accept Spanish rule, and numerous uprisings and rebellions occurred throughout the colonial period. The arrival of Miguel López de Legazpi and his conquest of Maynila laid the foundation for modern Philippine history. Manila became one of Asia's most important trading ports during Spain's galleon trade era. The city served as a gateway for cultural exchange between East Asia, particularly China and Japan, and Europe and the Americas. It became home to diverse communities influenced by indigenous traditions alongside European and Asian cultures. The Spanish colonial period had a lasting impact on Philippine society, culture, and identity. The Spanish language, while not widely spoken today, left its mark on Filipino languages through numerous loanwords. The Catholic faith, introduced by Spanish missionaries, became deeply ingrained in Filipino culture and remains the predominant religion in the country today. The Spanish colonial administration also introduced new forms of government and law which, although often oppressive, laid the groundwork for modern Philippine institutions. The encomienda system, while exploitative, reshaped land ownership and agricultural practices. Spanish urban planning influenced the development of cities and towns across the archipelago, with the Plaza Complex featuring a church, government buildings, and marketplace becoming a common feature. Education also underwent significant changes under Spanish rule. The University of Santo Tomas, founded in 1611, is the oldest existing university in Asia and played a crucial role in shaping the intellectual landscape of the Philippines. However, access to education was limited, primarily available to the elite and those entering religious orders. The Spanish colonial period also saw the emergence of a new social class, the ilustrados. These were educated Filipinos, often from wealthy families, who became instrumental in the development of Filipino nationalism in the late 19th century. Figures like Jose Rizal, Marcelo H. del Pilar, and Graciano Lopez Llena used their education and exposure to European ideas to challenge Spanish colonial rule and advocate for reforms. The galleon trade, which connected Manila to Acapulco in Mexico, had a profound impact on global commerce. For over 2 centuries, this trade route facilitated the exchange of silver from the Americas for Asian goods, particularly Chinese silks and porcelain. Manila became a melting pot of cultures, with Chinese, Japanese, Indian, and other Asian traders establishing communities alongside Spanish colonists and indigenous Filipinos. However, the Spanish colonial period was also marked by numerous challenges and injustices. The indigenous populations suffered from diseases brought by the Europeans, for which they had no immunity. Forced labor, particularly in the construction of churches and government buildings, took a toll on the native population. The Spanish authorities also faced threats from other colonial powers, particularly the Dutch and British, leading to the construction of extensive fortifications in Manila and other key areas. Despite these challenges, Filipino culture showed remarkable resilience. Indigenous traditions and beliefs persisted, often blending with Catholic practices to create unique syncretic forms of worship. Local arts and crafts continued to flourish, adapting to new influences while maintaining distinct Filipino characteristics. The Spanish colonial period also saw the gradual unification of the Philippine archipelago under a single administrative unit. While this process was driven by colonial interests, it laid the foundation for the concept of a Filipino nation that would emerge in the late 19th century. As we approach the end of our exploration of the Spanish conquest of Manila and the establishment of colonial rule, it's important to reflect on the complex legacy of this period. The arrival of the Spanish conquistadors forever altered the course of Philippine history, bringing both profound changes and enduring challenges. The events of 1571, from the Battle of Manila to the establishment of Spanish colonial rule, set in motion processes that would shape Philippine society, culture, and identity for centuries to come. The legacy of this period is still visible in modern Philippines, from the prevalence of Catholicism to the Spanish-influenced architecture that dots the landscape. However, it's crucial to approach this history with a nuanced perspective. While the Spanish colonial period brought significant developments in areas such as education, architecture, and global trade, it also resulted in the suppression of indigenous cultures, exploitation of resources, and the imposition of a foreign system of governance. The resilience of the Filipino people throughout this period is a testament to their strength and adaptability. Despite the challenges posed by colonial rule, indigenous traditions and values persisted, blending with new influences to create the rich, diverse culture that characterizes the Philippines today. As we conclude, we invite you to reflect on the lasting impact of this pivotal moment in history. How do you think the events of 1571 continue to shape the Philippines today? What lessons can we draw from this period of conquest and colonization? We encourage you to share your thoughts in the comments section below. Thank you for joining us on this historical journey. Don't forget to like this video if you found it informative, share it with others interested in Philippine history, and subscribe to Breaking Bulletin for more in-depth explorations of pivotal historical events. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and keep learning from the echoes of history.